Hello, everyone. My name is Gábor Arion Kudász. I'm going to host tonight's or this afternoon's intro. First, in the first hour, we are going to have an introduction of the photography MA program. And in the second hour, we will have a panel discussion with colleagues, alumni students, and current students at our program. And after that, we will have one-on-one conversations, discussions, portfolio reviews with people who are interested. As far as I know, you already signed up for these meetings. I would like to, in the beginning, thank to my colleagues, Daniel Szalai and Tímea Fábry, for co-hosting this afternoon. I hope everything is going to go smoothly, but of course, it's always exciting when we are doing something online. Okay. Yes, I would like to start with the preview. Just a second. Yes, so welcome everyone again. The photography program at MOME is not new. We have a quite long history, but we decided that in this year we're going to start it in English. So starting in 2022 September, the photography MA program is going to switch from Hungarian to English, and we are going to do slight adjustment in the program as well. But of course, taking into account the history and the tradition that we have. And I'm going to talk about that in detail a little bit later. I'm going to put this presentation or this intro into 4 or 5 different sections. At the end of each section, I will pause for a moment. So if you have questions regarding that, you can do that. You can ask questions, or you can ask through the chat, or you can raise your hands and we can make your voice audible, so you can ask your questions. And at the end there is going to be a few minutes for questions and answers, and during the panel discussion and on the one-on-one discussions, you can ask all the questions that you would like to do. Yeah, so let's start. I don't know, I saw some of the people who registered for this afternoon. I saw that some of you are Hungarian, so this probably is not the most interesting in the beginning for you, but for those who come from another continent, maybe it might be interesting. So Hungary has a very interesting position. If you look at the map in Europe, we are located in the very center of Europe, how we like to look at ourselves. But of course, at the same time, our history often puts us on the eastern edge of this continent, or in the minds of people, Hungary belongs to somewhere to the east. So I think it's a very interesting historical heritage that we have here, and we, in the photography program, we would like to cherish this history as well. MOME is located in Budapest, in the center of Hungary. It's a very nice city, and within Budapest, the photography department, or the MOME and the photography department, is located on the Buda side. It's a nice hilly area within the city. At the campus, when you arrive, you see a few older buildings, or like one big older building, which is the home of the photography MA. Actually, right now, I'm sitting in the MA home space. It's a space designed for our students to make themselves at home here. Right now, because we are having this this program, the students moved out for a bit, but in the background you can see some pictures on the walls and some desks. So when you become a MOME student, this is going to be your home. And also we encourage students to spend as much time at the university as possible. There are quite a lot of spaces for that. We also have in another building complex quite a lot of different workshops, from woodworking to textile, what have you, to glass, even 3D printing, etc. And what we are also very proud of, we've got a brand new studio complex, which this is the entrance. This is where you come in every day. So in the studio complex, we've got a black film studio and a white photo studio, where not just photography or films can be shot, but fashion shows, whatever, can be held. I think the campus right now is quite an interesting mix between very old and very new. I'm saying this because not just the photography MA is switching into English in 2022, but we just 2 years ago, we moved into our renovated new campus. So actually we're still, and you, starting next year, probably are going to get to know of the places, how to use the places, what the spaces are capable of. So it's a joint exploration of this campus, or hopefully it's going to be. Here you can see the entrance space. It's called the ground. It's underground. It's a very nice exhibition space. We often have photography exhibitions. So if you have the time or chance to come to Budapest, or if you are living in Budapest, come and see. There's always something going on, or if it's in between exhibitions. The MOME went through quite a lot of changes during its 140 years of history. In 1985, the photography department was founded, and it started its first year. It's a very interesting date because it's right at the, so the first photography diplomas were actually handed out in 1989, 1990, which is an important date because it marks the fall of communism. And just in a minute, I would talk a little bit more why this, I find it interesting and exciting and important. Also in 2010, we joined the Bologna system, which is, we have the BA and the MA. So we separated a 5-year program into a 3- and 2-year program. So the MA operates since then. It's 12 years. So we had quite enough time to go into details how to run it, how to run the MA program. And now it's going to be a very interesting shift towards English. We also, in the past 12 years, were working towards that. If you're interested more in the history and in the alumni work of MOME, I suggest that you buy this book. It's titled 33. It was published for the 33rd anniversary of the department in 2018, and it's published by Hetje Kantz. And I think it gives a very nice overview of what students, former students who made their name in photography in the last 33 years are doing right now. So actually this book is showing their current work, and the list of names is quite impressive. Yeah, I would like to talk for a bit about our vision. I mentioned before that the start in 1985 is important. I strongly believe that photography is the art form of democracy. Photography played a very important role in protecting or talking about the problems of democracy and the problems in our societies, in our world, and I believe that this role is a very important role, and we need to take that into account and act accordingly. So I think that the photographer is the eye of society, which is looking at society and the problems with scrutiny, and brings. It's always interesting to bring the neglected, the peripheries into focus. So in our program, we take this responsibility as one of our central responsibilities, or what we focus on. We hope that our graduates are taking part in a wider discourse, not just in the closer profession in photography, and they build their own identities, and they look at what the future brings us. So they form the world to be a better place. I know that it sounds cheesy, but it's but history proves that photographers are able to do this, or to fulfill this role. And now I would like to show you some works of alumni students from the recent year, and just mention a few sentences about that. And then we are going to go into detail about the details of the program. This year was one of the most interesting diploma projects in the past years of one Chinese student called Corazon Yuting. She, because of COVID and because of other reasons, could not travel back to her home country in China, and she is planning to make a new home here in Europe. But of course, within Hungary, if you see, the influence of China is growing. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Can you escape from a new occupation? So she, throughout the 2 years in the MA program, she every semester she made an attempt to describe what her journey to home means. So how she looks at her own hometown in China, or how she looks at the new home here in Hungary from a Chinese perspective or from a Hungarian perspective. And I think it became a very interesting work. This is another image from another section of this project. It became quite a layered work, which reflects not just on what she thinks about China, but also what she thinks about the immigration and Chinese influence in Europe, etc. Another work of another female student, Kincső Bede. She comes from Transylvania, Romania, and in her work she investigated this shift of 1990, when a generation who was brought up in the communism, in Romanian communism, is logged or living together with another generation which was born after 1990 in a free world, and so they don't share the same language. They have difficulties communicating with each other, and she investigated this problem within her own family, and with great success, actually. Another project from Transylvania, or focusing on Transylvania or Romania, or on the wider Romanian scene, is the work of Antal Bánhegyesi. He won actually the Robert Couple Grand Prize with this project. It was titled Orthodoxia, and this project looked at how the government and the church is joining powers, and there is a forced orthodoxization of the landscape. So actually it was not about the souls, about the people mainly, but more about how the landscape is occupied by religion, and through religion by the Romanian state. An interesting work of Sára Erzsébet Tímár. She is a historian, and she was before MOME. She studied the culture houses, Hungarian culture houses, and she wrote her thesis about culture houses as a historian. And she felt that she could use 2 years of photography education to document these places, because just now, when she was working on this project, these venues went through a strong, very transforming renovation process, and many of the values that were often a little bit disregarded, trashy, were lost and were transformed into something completely different, something completely new. So she, during the 2 years studies, she made a complete overview of these culture houses in Hungary, and she also ran as a finalist for the Robert Couple Grand Prize. Here's another picture of the series. I would like to mention Dávid Bíró's work, which he will later on talk about this work probably. The title is Front End, and it's about our not just a perspective on virtuality, but how we have difficulty realizing or understanding where virtual reality and reality is meeting, or where is the boundary between the two. And most of these photographs are completely analog. I mean, they are shot digitally, but the pictures depict analog setups, but they respond to how the virtual world is slowly taking over our real world. Just to mention about Anna Kiskéri's work, who was dealing with our changing understanding of beauty, what we find beautiful, what is standard, and she brought this project from her BA studies. So actually, when someone comes to the photography MA, you come with a project proposal and you pursue that project throughout the 2 years, and this is what she did. Hanna Redling is another recent alumni. She finished her studies in 2020, so a year before last. She also did something similar to the Culture House project, but it's not the Culture Houses, it's more the motels that were opened in after 1990, so after the fall of communism. And many of the owners of these hotels, they attempted to imitate these Western American hotels, motels, but of course they were like a little bit cheaper edition of what they saw in the movies or during their trips to the Americas. So and also these places are renovated now, or they are closing, or they're going bankrupt. And what Hanna did, she traveled throughout the country and photographed these motels, and also started with time to occupy these spaces and to adapt herself to these places, and started to stage herself within these venues. And it's part of documentary work, but it slowly progressed from documentary work to even it crossed this virtual threshold. So now she, at the end of this project, she started to do 3D models of these hotel rooms and motel lobbies. And now, she will talk about that later, now she is completely moved in this direction, working with 3D and working with virtual representations of existing spaces. Another work of just a second. Sorry, I hope that you don't see my tools. Of Tamás Kovács. He spent 1 year during his studies in Belfast, and he has a condition where he's mixing up some colors, the red and the green, and also he comes from Transylvania, and he also comes from a similarly ethnically divided community, similar to Belfast, where the Catholic and the Protestants, the English and the Irish community are, how to say, confronted with each other. And he made in his diploma work an installation piece, which included 3-channel video and photographs and a sculpture-like light setting, where the changing color of the light was helping us to understand these shifting point of views. How if you belong to this one community, you see actually things differently, or you see different things, and you hear different things, and you experience different things. It was a quite interesting diploma project. Bianca Chenki is a current student at the photography MA. Later today, you will have the chance to ask her questions. She is working on right now a project about polyamoria, where a husband and the father has built an interesting life around himself, and a very exciting family construct, we can say, but Bianca will talk about this more precisely. And Bianca is made friends with this family and is studying how our routines or how our standards are changing, how we are looking at the institution of marriage or relationships differently as society is changing, or as even as medical possibilities are changing. Just a short list of our recent graduates and some of the awards that they won. I won't tell about all because we've got quite a lot to discuss, but since we are recording this intro, you can look up names and look at the works. Okay. I would like to mention some of the successes. First of all, I think the Robert Capa Award is a quite useful tool to measure how capable our photographers are. The first Robert Capa Award, the winner was announced in 2015, and since then, all winners of this award were MOME alumni. So we are very, very, very proud of this one. And what is even more interesting, that the shortlist was 18 MOME alumni were on the shortlist, which is quite telling because it's the majority, and we are very proud, and we hope that no one will think there's an international jury, so no one should think that it's a house competition of MOME. Here I'm showing you a few pictures from this semester, from this past semester, so the autumn. Our alumni students, recent graduates, and current students are appearing in many fairs, festivals. Just to mention a few unseen, in Amsterdam, Periphoto with Kincső Bede, and Art Market Budapest, which is in Budapest. And we find it very important that our students find their way to the gallery scene, and they also find their how to say, they can pursue their career forward. They can build on their diploma work at MOME. So that's a very important thing for us, and we are supporting our students. Actually, Periphoto was an interesting to look at from a different perspective. Here you can see a few book covers. One is Daniel Szalai's Novogen, and Peter Puklus, and Kata Geibel, and Eva Szombat. It's 4 books, but 3 of them, they had their book signing, their book intro at Periphoto this year. So we are very proud to see that our students, former students, have this kind of appearance as well. They are doctorate students, of course, not MA students, but also MA students publish books. What we also find important, and we during the 2 years, the 4 semesters, we have assignments for that, is to exhibit. It might sound a little bit silly, but you need to learn how to exhibit your work, how to show your work to an audience, how to reach an audience, not just your friends, but a wider audience, how to appear in the media. It's key. I think it becomes more and more and more important as time goes by. It's not enough to sit around and I mean, not sit around just to create good work, but you need to do this other half, the management part. And as an artist, you need to experiment with the exhibition, and you need to have a routine in how to exhibit. These are just a few pictures of our recent collaboration with Erzsébetváros, which is a district in Budapest, and we actually our students occupied shops that are empty because of maybe they went out of business during COVID, and these spaces serve as very interesting venues within the central district of Budapest, and the students were supported, and they made exhibitions, pop-up exhibitions in these spaces, and they also there was also an award that was given to Doro Novak, one of the exhibiting students. Yeah, I think that's enough about this one. We also take part in a collaboration with a photo festival, Breda Photo, in the Netherlands. They have an international talent program which connects or brings together 10 universities within Europe, and they offer a theme that we transform to our own understanding, and our students are working on this theme, and they have they view lectures. There are joint events between these schools, and we find it as a very very nice way to help the students' work blossom as the festival is offering. There's also a competition between the works, so it's a competitive environment, and there's also a reward at the end, because from each school, the student who's doing the best work appears in the festival, and the work gets international exposure. There's also alumni residency, informal residency in Breda, and there's also a longer term mentorship for alumni. So I think it's a very nice thing, and we take part in this in the last 5 years already. Yes. We try to bring our students to festivals and to fairs, so that they see what's happening, what's going on in the art scene. We organize field trips. Actually, just in February, we are going to go towards the east to Transylvania for a few days. It's very important that that photography students, they don't necessarily work as individuals. You need to think and work as a group, as young talents, thinking and working together and inspire each other and help each other. I think it's a very very important thing to also to learn to not to be selfish. Yeah. Yes, we've got 50 minutes and quite a lot of things to talk about. I would like to introduce the teaching staff at the Photography MA program very shortly. Gábor Arion Kudász, it's me. I'm the head of the MA program. You can see the list here. These are teachers who form the core of the department. They are all Hungarian, but that should not be surprising or disencouraging. I would like to also introduce Gábor Máté. He will also be here today, later on during the panel. He is the head of the BA program and a very enthusiastic photographer who comes from a background in advertising photography, but he became quite a busy and successful artist in the last decade or so. Ábel Szalontai, is another colleague of us at the MA. Viola Fátyol is a earlier recipient of the Robert Capa Award. She is working mostly with the BA, but also works in the MA. It's maybe it's good to mention here that these teachers like Ábel Szalontai, Viola Fátyol, Eva Szombat, who's a young colleague of us, you can select mentors for. We like that there's a rotation, so like in the 2 years in the MA program, students have get to know different teachers each semester, a different mentor. So in each semester, the students should work with a different mentor, a different professor, and learn everything and the complete palette of photography. Also, in the first year, Anna Fabricius is guiding the students. She's also working with video. She's teaching a subject related to the moving image. Imre Drégely is our, is our oldest colleague. He was quite successful in the 90s, and he's a very avant-garde figure, very experimental, and with great knowledge in terms, mostly focusing on this Hungarian and Central European photography scene. So these are teachers who are photographers. Plus, we've got quite a lot of workshop leaders, guest teachers also. In the theory department, we've got almost an endless list of subjects and teachers. If you go on the MOME website and you click theory, you can look through all the disciplines that these teachers are experts of. Connected to photography, I would like to mention 3 names. Judith Gellér, she was until recently curator of the Robert Capa Center in Budapest. Zsolt Petrányi is the former director of the Kunsthalle in Budapest, and Gábor Fiszner is independent writer of photography, curator, art historian, a very well-known figure in the scene. So as students at the photography department, you will definitely meet them. And also in the studios and labs, Richard Asher is a British colleague of us, István Oravec, they are controlling the studio, so you will work with them on a day-to-day basis. Csaba Hajnóc is a musician, and he is leading a course related to sound, and we really like the results of these courses. Gergő Gostom is an independent photographer. He's doing quite a lot of editorial work, and he at MOME is teaching a digital workflow. But of course, in the studios and in the workshops, you will meet quite a lot of experts of different techniques. Okay, here's a sample of Anna Fabricius's work. She does videos quite often. This one is dealing with the textile business in China. Imre Drégely, an experimental piece. Eva Szombat is a young colleague, and she just recently again won the Robert Capa Award. We're very happy that a young colleague of us is among the winners. this is a picture from her winning series. The title is, I think it's "I Want Orgasms, Not Roses," or something like this. Gábor Máté, the head of the BA, in his work, he's dealing first long-term projects. And first, he was dealing with the eternal marriage, and then a very interesting shift. He turned towards the divorce, and now he's working quite a lot with young people who are, of course, the result or going through or seeing the happiness of the marriage and the tragedy of a divorce, maybe. These are two pictures of the two projects. I already mentioned the Robert Capa Award a few times already. Viola Fátyol is, these are two pictures of her book and the project, which won a few years ago the Robert Capa Award. And in this, she joined a group of old ladies in the countryside who had a choir, and they were singing, and she sung with them, and they were telling stories about their marriages, about their life, and she documented her presence within this community. I think it was a very touching and wonderful work, and very successful as well. I'm just very shortly mention myself as well. This is a series titled Human. I shot in the neighboring countries. It's focusing on work and the standards and ambition of the human species, how we are building a future, and how we are reconstructing ourselves, and how we are parts of a how to say, huge machinery. Maybe I will talk a little bit more later on after September about this project. Aber Salonta is traveling quite a lot. This project runs under several titles. I will mention portography. It's focusing on how the transportation of goods and transportation of cultures and transportation as an activity is forming the world and is forming the people who are living at the ports of the world. And he's documenting not just the landscape, but also the people and the environmental effect on the world. Yeah, so it's he just recently published a book of this series that you might find. Apart from the Hungarian staff, we have quite a lot of guest lecturers or temporary teachers. Here's just a few names from the recent past. We will in September have Jörg Kohlberg here. He already visited us and worked together with us a few times. I would like to mention just a few names: Peter Pukrush or Mark Proust or Torbjörn Rödland, or there are some lecturers like Erwin Olaf and Matthew Esselin, Martin Kollar. We like to focus or have this focus on Central Europe when we think about who to invite. So this program is not the standard photography MA where you try to invite the biggest names from the world, but we would like to invite people who are using photography as a form of protest and who work within this very interesting socio-cultural or political environment in Central Europe. And when you come to the Photography MA program at MOME, you will also see that we focus on this region. So when you look at the names, look at it this way. Together with Breda Photo, of course, we have a wider window on the world. Here are some pictures of a very recent lectures. And we are also organizing events. This is just one that the department organized. It's a recurring event now. It's titled Working Context. It's a symposium every year. And we are also, so the aim of this symposium is to define the Central European, the nature of Central European photography, what it is and where it is heading, what it should be in the future. And we invited in the past two editions of this symposium. First, we invited people from the region, and then we invited people from farther out to look at this problematic of the past and present and future of this region, of the photography of the region. So actually, if you're not necessarily a photographer, but you're interested in this region, it might be interesting to come to MOME because you will have an in-depth understanding of the photography of Central Europe. Yeah, I think I'm going to skip this or just mention it very, very briefly. We're constantly, I mentioned the exhibitions. The students are making exhibitions, but we are also making exhibitions for the alumni, and we are constantly experimenting with, how to say, unusual ways to present photographic work and to involve or include the audience. This project that you can see here runs actually under the title New Visegrad Photography, and it also has a Central European focus, and it connects the art academies, universities that are teaching photography in this region. And we are showing alumni and fresh diploma work of these schools. So we have like a, how to say, comparison between these schools, and not necessarily the schools, but the students who come from these schools. Here you can see a list of our partners. There are Hungarian partners, but also international partners as well. Galleries, media, providers like Canon, Pigmenta, Tripont, whatever, and also festivals and universities. Okay, I see that I'm talking since 44 minutes already, and I'm still just halfway through. So I will just run through very, very quickly on our curriculum. Here you see the setup, the structure of our 4 semesters. You see that the program-specific modules take up so many credits in a semester, 20, 15, 15, and 5. But later on, you will see in each semester you will need to get 30. But I will just very shortly talk about these each semester. So in the first semester, our students who don't necessarily come from a photography background get to know the art scene. They work with audio and motion studies. They learn the importance of sound and the importance of the moving image in connection to photography or in connection to their projects. They work on a joint project, and also they learn to improve their writing skills as well. There's also a photography course called Photography Specifics, during which you work quite a lot in our studio and lab facilities. In the second semester, we focus mostly on the photo book. Students are actually not just photo book, but the Zin. And students are more focused on their individual projects, so the project that they bring to the MA. And alongside this, they study the history and philosophy of photography. It's a series of lectures. We invite the available experts within the region. So this history of photography has a regional focus on Europe or Central Europe. Yes, in the third semester, our students are writing their thesis and also begin to work on the diploma projects. There's a course which is supporting this. It's called Contemporary Photography. Here you meet artists, you visit studios, you visit galleries, and there's also visits to festivals and organizations. This course is taught by Judith Gellért, who is a very talented young curator. And in the fourth semester, students are working on their diploma, but they also need to do an internship that most of the students do between the second and the third semester during the summer. Okay, here you see three different groups of subjects. One is the RDI module. It's a research, development, and innovation module. Here, we call it a horizontal module, where students are joining students from other departments, working with partner organizations like Audi, companies, or cultural organizations, and they usually respond to questions or their problems. So they approach MOME with a problem. For example, Audi wanted to better communicate with their workers, and so animation, photography, graphic design students got together and devised new ways to help this international company to communicate with its workers. These courses you can select in each semester, and throughout your studies you need to do 3. So it means out of the 4 semesters you can have 1 semester without the research, development, and innovation module. There's also an intensive course week module, which doesn't bring you credits, but it's a nice chance to meet international experts, and it's an always new offer. There's always a variety, and there are always interesting workshops within the department or outside of the department. And of course, there are elective courses where you can study specific skills or get to know new technologies. This you also need to choose 3 times during your studies. And also there's the theoretical module and the diploma module, which I'm going to talk about briefly. The theoretical studies module brings you in the first semester a set of 10 lectures and coaching connected to that, and it gives a very broad overview of the theoretical possibilities, and tries to open the door as wide as possible for you. And then from the second semester you can focus on and make your own personal choose subjects that fit you most or fit your interest the most. This you can also choose one course in each semester, but also you can, as you can see, if you have the time, you can do all 3 in the first semester if you want. So it's quite free. You can choose quite freely. And also here I'm going to talk about the diploma module, where you have your MA project, which worth 15 credits, and your thesis, which was 5 credits. But at the end, at the diploma, they count as equal, so that you will get a mark on your thesis and a mark on your diploma project, and it's going to equal out. Okay, Just a little bit about time. One semester is 3 months. You will do the Erasmus mobility if you want, in the second or in the third semester, and also you can do an extra semester, or, so you can finish your MA studies in 3 years if you want. So you can take a year off in the middle and work on towards your diploma project, or do an internship. The diploma is quite a lot of work, and not just the diploma, but the entire MA is quite a lot of work. I made a quick calculation how many hours you need to do while you are studying. It means that you need to calculate about 7 hours a weekday. So it includes what you invest into your project and what you are sitting at lectures or consultations. So it's quite a lot of time. So it's not something that you can do on the weekend. There are quite a lot of career possibilities here. If you go to our website, you can just have a glance of what we find that our alumni are going towards. So you can be a visual artist, photographer, journalist, photojournalist, editor, teacher, like me. And you can even go to publishing, curating, you can be a researcher. So there's quite a lot of things that you can do with your photography MA diploma. Okay, very quickly. Should we have questions now, or should I finish this intro? No response. So, okay. How to apply? When you are applying to MOME, you need to compile 2 things in the beginning. You need to do a portfolio, which shows the best of your work. It can be, there's no limit. It should be 20 megabytes maximum, but it can be as many projects as you want. We suggest that it's 2 to 4 projects. If we are talking about photo series, if we talk about individual works, it should be about 20, 40 photographs. You need to connect to this professional CV, so what tells about your former studies and the knowledge or the experience that you have, not just necessarily in photography. And as a second half, you need to do a self-portrait video, which has a cap, a limit in time. It should be 1 minute. It's very difficult to talk about yourself in 1 minute. It can be a selfie video, it can be a pitch of your project, it can be a show reel of your best work. We don't care what it is until it's 1 minute and it's about you. And these 2 things you need to upload online. And then when we select your portfolio and your video, we will invite you to an interview, which is in July. It can be, because of COVID, it can be offline or online, or if you're far away, it can be online. If you can make it to Budapest, it should be offline. Here, you don't need to bring the same portfolio that you made for the uploading, but if you come in person, you can bring your work prints that we lay out on a table, and we discuss it, and we spend roughly 15 minutes with each one of you, and then after the interviews, we compile the class of 10 to 12 students. So usually we have about 30 applicants at the interviews, and we select 1/3 of them. Here are a few examples of the videos like the selfie videos that you make. It can be a mood, a layout, some feelings. It can be a making of video, how you made an exhibition or how you're working. It can be an exhibition walkthrough, so you are showing your works on a wall. You can just talk to the camera. It can be, you can narrate your work. You can remain silent if you want and play sounds or music or show text in your video. The best thing is that from your video, we have a feeling of your personality, what kind of person you are. It should be 60 seconds. At the interviews, you can bring your works as a little booklet, a classical photo album, or you can also bring online stuff. You can show us your website, you can show us video work, or you can show us an online slideshow animation if you made. You can bring it on whatever means you want. The best way is to bring a box with pictures, so we can lay out the pictures on the table and maybe rearrange them or put them next to each other and ask questions and start a discussion about your work. You need to show quality. You need to be informative. We suggest that you are original. And if you show commitment, then that's about a straight path to success at the interviews. You can bring quite a lot of work, but make sure that you fit into that 15 minutes that we have. So here's a little overview of what you need to do, what you need to put into your calendar. Okay, first you need to register. That's very important. So those who come from Hungary, they need to register until the 15th of February 2022 at Felvi, which is the Hungarian government-run website. It's in Hungarian only. So if you want to come to the state-funded, so if you want to study funded by the state, you need to go through this system. But you also have the possibility to apply until a later date, 15th of April, at apply.mome.hu. But then, if you go through that, you will be only eligible to the scholarships that MOME offers, not the government offer. I will talk about that in a minute. And secondly, in May, you pay attention to our website, and in May you will get a call for the uploading of the portfolios. So you will, middle of April, beginning of May, you will upload your portfolio. So you need to compile it until then. And then, if you're selected, you will get a notification and you're called for the interviews in July, usually the first week of July 2022. During the interviews, you're either here or you're online. We are going to talk with you, and then we are going to have this, we make the decision who is going to be in the class, and you need to enroll to your to MOME until September 2022. But before that, if you go through the apply.mome.hu path, then you need to apply. You are going to be informed of what amount of support you get for your studies, and you need to accept it. So, yes, I see that there is a question. There's also, for those who, I'm speaking English right now, but I see that among the audience there are quite a lot of Hungarian people. So if you apply in the until February or April, you will have the chance to take part in an English language course, which is meant to improve your English skills, and that is free, and it is offered to everyone who who registered to the entrance exam procedure. So you can take part in this English course free of charge, and then of course we meet at the interviews and we are going to see how good you are in English. Actually, you don't need to have an exam in English. At the interviews, we are going to have a conversation with you, and we will see if you understand what we say and if we understand what you say. So it's quite easy. So you don't need to prove that with a piece of paper that you speak English. Okay, how much does all this cost? Okay, we compiled four different setups. Okay, there are questions. Yes. Yes, Eddie is asking a question. Students from abroad can only register at the MOME site until April. I'm talking about this. Basically, yes, but not necessarily. So listen, this is the point. Okay. Yeah, there are no more questions. Yes. Number one. First option, you're Hungarian citizen. You can apply to the state-funded program here. There are some conditions. So in the next, I don't know, 20 years or 15 years, you will need to work at least 2 years in Hungary. So these are the conditions. I don't know how they are going to go after you if you don't do that, but so there is this condition. So your studies are funded by the state, but you need to work in Hungary. So for 2 years, sometime in the future. The deadline of this is 15th of February, so it's an early registration deadline. And there's also another version. If you used up all your state-funded semesters, Hungarians know what this means, you will apply to this self-funded version, which is 1,850 forints per semester. It's a lot, but there are also scholarships to reduce the amount that you need to pay. This, for Hungarian citizens, the entrance exam goes through felvi.hu. Don't forget, there's one deadline, 15th of February. But this affects only Hungarian students. Now let's see, group 2. You are an EEA citizen, so it's like you're a European Union, basically, European Union citizen. You can go through the state-funded system at felvi.hu. It's in Hungarian, but we offer a Zoom session, just like this one. It's a meet actually, and it's about half an hour, and our colleague is helping you to go through this registration process. You need to write an email to photography@mome.hu. The deadline is 15th of February. You only need to register. There are some paperwork that you need to do. You need to collect some documents before that, and you register like that. And my colleague Daniel Szalai is guiding you through the Hungarian website. There is one condition: in the next 10 years or 15 years or so, you will need to work in Hungary for 2 years. But of course, you don't need to live in Hungary, but you need to do some work in Hungary. But of course, the time of your studies also counts into this time, so it's doable. Version B, you don't want these conditions. You go through the self-funded path. We charge you 5,000 euros per semester, which would end up 20,000 euros for the entire studies. But there are quite a lot of scholarships that we give. The scholarships can pay for your part of your studies, but this doesn't apply to everyone, so bear with me. Okay, there's a later deadline, 15th of April, and you go through the apply.mome.hu. So these are some strings attached, it's free. There are no strings attached, you need to pay. Okay, there's another question. Oh yeah. Okay, no. And number 3, you are someone applying from outside of the European Union. You're a citizen of another country. You come from the rest of the world. This is how I'm sorry. So then we charge you 12,000 euros per semester, but which adds up to quite a lot of money. But you still have the 15th of April as a deadline. You go through the apply.mome.hu. So there's a later registration. It costs a lot, but there's a big but. There's a regional social mobility scholarship that we offer. So this would be group number 4. So there are some people, some countries, some EEA countries and some non-EEA countries. If you live in these countries, you can apply for the scholarship. At the entrance exam, we can offer you deduction from your tuition. So if you come from Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Croatia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, or Slovenia, from this 5,000 euros per semester, we can give you 25, 50, 75, or 100% off from your tuition. We will take into account your social situation and also the quality of your work or what your performance at the entrance exams. Let's take another look. You come from a non-EEA country, so you're a citizen of the rest of the world. You come from Belarus, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Moldova, Montenegro, Serbia, or Ukraine. You can also apply for these scholarships. Yes, it's so actually the tuition fee at the end can be 0, just like a Hungarian student who comes through the state-funded system. I hope it makes sense. I see that there are more and more questions. How about the Middle East? Yes, that's a tricky question. We are working, we are working on solutions, but unfortunately, currently the university is offering these scholarships, and with the focus on these countries. Yes, and there are also other scholarship possibilities. If you go to our website, there's an Excellence 2021, probably is going to be soon Excellence 2022. There are all other scholarship possibilities to pay for your studies. Okay, to follow us, you can follow our Instagram at MOME__photography, and also the MOME website and the Facebook page of the department.